Hey, good morning. Welcome back to the final spring break virtual firefighter. So here we are, beautiful North Shore, Firehall number 2, and we're going to set up the big tower ladder today and go for a climb. Before we get going too much here though, I just wanted to thank all of you that have joined us this week, have taken part in this, asking great questions, comments. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it. And also just really want to thank all the crews that helped us out this week. We did a lot of good training. A few different crews had to rearrange their schedule and everyone was willing to help out. And also for the City of Kamloops and Kamloops Fire Rescue for giving us permission to try this out. It was a bit of an experiment, so we're glad it's worked out and we're really glad you joined us. So right now, Tower Ladder 2, we're going to take a tour of that, and it looks like Richard is hard at work already getting it set up. So let's go see what he's up to. So Firefighter Taylor is the operator of Tower 2 today. He's getting everything set up to be able to put the tower ladder up in the air. We're gonna go catch him here. He works pretty quickly. Just ask him what he's doing. So Firefighter Taylor,
yep.
What are those? What are those things?
These are the pods that go into the outriggers to help stabilize the tower.
So those outriggers are a very important piece of equipment for this truck. Once the tower ladder is way up in the air, it could tip the whole truck over if it didn't have those outriggers. So that's why the first thing the operator has to do is set them up. Now watch this, what it does to the fire truck. So you can see that those tires are actually a little bit right up off the ground. So these outriggers have picked the entire truck up off the ground so that all of the weight is sitting on the outriggers. So it's got a nice wide base and it won't tip over. We'll just have a look at that from the front. So like I was saying, Firefighter Taylor is used to setting this truck up in a big hurry. He's pretty good at it. So I've actually asked him to slow it down a little bit so I can explain what's going on here, but he's pretty quick, and most of us are. This is the biggest truck that we have in Kamloops Fire Rescue. It's a pretty expensive piece of equipment. We need to look after it. This is the only tower ladder that we have in Kamloops Fire. We've also got another truck out in Valley View that has the big ladder, but it doesn't have this part here. Got Firefighter Venables up in the basket, and in a minute here we're going to send him up in the air, and then we're going to go up there too. No, I'm gonna climb it. Here go our friends at BC Ambulance off to a medical call. We'll see if the other crew that's here right now might have to join them. Okay, I'm gonna climb up there with Firefighter Taylor and we're gonna watch. I'll get out of his way.
You have control, Scott. Scott, you have control.
So this can either be controlled by the truck operator down here or the firefighter up in the basket over there. What does our computer here show us?
We have aerial view, outrigger view, and cabin body. So aerial view. Sorry, I'm
So that just gives us all the information about the tower ladder. Make sure the outriggers are out properly, and it tells us how far up the ladder is. So these big pistons here, those are the hydraulics that actually push the ladder up. And then those cables you saw are connected to some other hydraulic pistons. And that's what's putting that basket way up in the air. Okay, so now that's, are we all the way up there?
he's aligned the runs.
Okay, so he's getting everything lined up.
Got a good question here from Alex. Wants to know why we use the ladder.
Okay, really good question. Somebody was asking, you know, what do we use this ladder for? Tell you what, I'm gonna climb up here, and when I get to the top, I'll start explaining some of that. So hopefully we won't lose you here. I gotta put my phone in my pocket, and hopefully it's gonna...
I'm just gonna line the runs.
Okay, while he's working there, I'm gonna talk a bit about the ladder. So this is a very important piece of equipment, and we use it for a bunch of different things. Obviously the biggest one is to get up tall places, tops of buildings, apartment buildings. We can use it for rescue. We can get people up, climbing up the ladder. Another big purpose for it is if you look in the middle here, there's a big pipe that runs all the way up. So that's going to carry water from the pump on the truck up to the basket. Then we can use it for a couple different ways. There's a couple very big nozzles up there that we'll show you that we can spray a big area from there or into big buildings. And the other thing we can do is, remember we were talking about standpipes in high rises earlier this week. We can use this as our own standpipe that we set up.
In case of emergency, how fast can we set this ladder up?
So in case of emergency, how fast can we set this ladder up? It probably takes, what do you figure? About a minute, 2 minutes? Yeah, a couple minutes to get it set up. One of the most important parts is choosing very carefully where it's going to go to make sure that it can reach the building. You know, it goes 100 feet up, but of course we can't park right beside the building, so we have to consider where we're going to park and make sure that the ladder is going to reach where we need it to. So yeah, the standpipe, the water, we can use it for rescue. We can use it, you know, sometimes we've had to use it in the past where, say, a construction worker on a rooftop has gotten hurt, and we can use that to, we've got a stretcher up there, and we'll talk about that in a minute, to rescue someone off a really high spot like that. We also have some rope systems where if somebody's way down deep in a hole, that we can try and use this to pull someone up out of the hole, sometimes in construction sites. So industrial settings, and again, obviously big fires. So I'm gonna throw my helmet on here, and I'm gonna go for a climb. I might be a little out of breath by the time I get up there. Okay, hopefully everyone can see okay. No technical difficulties yet. I put my gloves on. It's been a while since I've climbed up this thing. I'm a little nervous. Okay, so there's everybody down on the ground. And here we go. One thing I'm being careful to do is hold on to the ladder. 3 points of contact, 1 foot and 2 hands, or 2 feet and 1 hand when I'm changing rungs. And I'm paying attention to what I'm doing because we're starting to get pretty high up here. We're already higher than the Firehall. You can see the ladder is in sections here, so I got a few more sections to go up. Whew, getting tired. This is actually one of the tests that we have for brand new firefighters that want to join us at Counts Fire. We set this thing up and we make sure that they can climb to the top. Not everybody likes heights, but you still need to be able to do your job. So it gets a little narrow here because I have to squeeze past this ladder that's attached to the top. So we've got some tools available at the top of the ladder here in case we need them once the ladder's up. We can't go back down very easily to go and get them.
Welcome to the top of the world.
Thank you, sir.
Come on in.
Okay, so I'm gonna take the camera so I can point it around again here.
Absolutely.
You can see that we are tethered in to make sure that we stay in the basket because it's a long way down right now. Let's have a look. Where's those guys? Oh boy.
Go ahead for the pedals.
That's pretty far.
Can you let Captain James know that we've lost the link and it's frozen?
Copy that. I can hear it's right next to me.
Stand by.
It might be too far away.
Yeah, no, it's still, we're good. We still have signal up here.
Okay. We still got a signal. He says we're good. We'll just work on it.
Okay, sorry about that, everyone.
We have frozen at, while he's climbing a ladder.
It's still good. We'll keep not done.
Copy. We're just gonna keep on going.
Okay, so like I was saying, we're a long ways up. It's a pretty nice view, eh?
Best view in the city.
What's it like being up here at a fire this high up?
It all depends which way the smoke's going and how high we're up. The wind obviously affects how stable the ladder is. I don't know if you guys can hear the wind gusting through the camera, but it's actually pretty windy up here. The basket's actually swaying a little bit. So you kind of get, your stomach kind of churns a little bit. But like I said, we use this because it's an elevated position so we can kind of see what's happening below us as well. And normally when we're up here operating firefighting activities, we're operating our master streams, which are just on this side of the ladder.
So those are the big nozzles I was telling you about, and they can be controlled from up here. That one can be controlled from down below remotely. So we can spray water from up here, or I was talking about standpipes. They're down below, you can't really see them. But yeah, that was a good climb. Okay, you know what I think we should do?
What should we do there, boss?
I think we should go back down and we'll talk some more about what this truck can do.
Absolutely.
So Firefighter Venables can control the tower ladder from up here. He's got a set of controls here and he'll send us back down.
All right on. Firefighter Taylor from Venables. We are going to make our way back down.
Copy that, you are clear.
So they sent you over the side there, boss? Step off.
So someone was just asking how high were we? That was 100 feet above the ground before we started bringing it back down. Nice view of the garbage truck. And I can tell you, like Firefighter Venables was mentioning, when these big nozzles are flowing a lot of water and we've got high wind up here, it can be quite a ride. This thing bounces around all over the place, and you know, we have to put some faith in our mechanics. We have awesome mechanics that look after this equipment and test it, and so we know it's safe, but it still gets your heart pounding.
Ground floor.
And we're back. So before I step out here, I'm just going to ask a few more questions about some of the equipment that we have up here. Like I mentioned, you know, once we're up in the air, we've got what we've got here. So Firefighter Venables, you were talking about,
Sorry.
if we get some heavy smoke up here, how do we deal with that if there's a firefighter up here?
Right, so we have a...
How do you push that here?
Back to that. I'm going to
Many
ask
questions.
the operator for that one.
Many questions. So if we're up here, obviously we have to wear a breathing apparatus, right, that lets us keep in all that IDLH or all that bad smoke and gases away from us. So we're wearing our breathing apparatus, which I'm sure they talked a little bit about earlier on in the week. Up on the tower, up in the basket here, we have two large air cylinder tanks on both sides. All right? And with those basically hold our breathing air. So we're able to open those up. And then within the system itself, we have hard lines that we can actually tie into the actual tower or the ladder itself, which allows us to breathe off those large air cylinders into our BA. And lets us stay up here for, you know, depends on 4, 5, 6, 7 hours if we have to on one cylinder. So it really helps us out.
What's this ladder up here for? I mean, we've got a 100-foot ladder. What do we need another one for?
So this ladder as well is if we have to get off the ladder for any sort of reason, if we have to do any roof operations, or if we can't put this basket directly flush with the ladder or the roof that we're working on, we can actually take this ladder here, hook it up to the side of this basket, right next to the cap there, it's got the connections. All right, and we can actually use that ladder to climb down onto an elevated peak without having to put the ladder directly on top of the actual roof itself.
Okay, and I see we got a little fire hose up here. What's that for?
That there is just basically what we call just a duster up hose. Right? If we have any little spot fires, instead of flowing our large gallonage or a large volume of water out of our master streams, we have an 1.5 inch hand line here that we can open up that comes up the same standpipe system that we can use to also suppress fire with as well. A little bit more controlled than you having the big master streams flowing.
Okay, so we got some basic hand tools up here.
Hand tools, ladders, pipe holes.
Okay, and how about that? There's that silver box on the side of the ladder. I don't know if you can see that, but what's in there?
So in there itself, we have an actual Stokes basket. So I don't know if the cap mentioned that we can do some type of technical rope rescues with this actual basket itself, using it as high points. So in there we store our Stokes baskets and spine boards and some of the ropes that are attached to the bottom of this basket we can use for pickoffs.
Okay, I'm going to step out here, and we're just going to show a couple things on the outside. Okay, so this is the outside of the basket here. I just left my gloves sitting there right in the way. That's the big nozzle we were talking about. And this is the other one. A lot of water comes out of there. And then we can, if we're up on a rooftop, we can hook fire hoses up. Okay, I think we're back. Hopefully we're back. Little technical difficulties. There's a lot of electronics on this truck, and some of the stuff on here I think interferes with our signal. So again, as usual, I've had to say this a couple times this week. If you're just rejoining us right now, we will be putting a high quality version on YouTube of this and editing out these little dropouts. So hopefully a few of us can rejoin us. So just on with the basket here. The big nozzles we were talking about. We got lots of lighting on here. There's some lights underneath as well. So that's another purpose for this this truck. We can use it at scene to help provide lighting at a fire. You can see a big cord reel here. And these are the air tanks that Firefighter Venables was talking about. We had a question about the pump on this truck. So here's the numbers. There you go. 1,754 gallons per minute at 150 psi. So that's a long way of saying a lot of water comes pumping out of this. And if we have a good hydrant, or sometimes several good hydrants, then we can get even more out. So for big fires, we need lots of water. Hey, Firefighter Taylor, can you just show us some of the equipment that's specific to the tower that, you know, we might not find on other trucks? Like, for example, the 5-inch hose. So Firefighter Taylor's a pretty big guy, but there's a lot of weight in there. This hose is a bigger diameter than what we have on our fire engine, so we can supply even more water to this truck. We've got all the different hoses that we might need, and lots of different ladders. I was mentioning earlier how the truck is actually a little bit right off the ground because of these outriggers. One of the jobs of the truck at a fire is sometimes ventilation. So that's cutting holes in the roof of a building. So we've got lots of saws on here for those kind of operations. Electric fan here for getting smoke out of buildings. And up here, oh, it's kind of loud here because of the exhaust of the truck there. This cabinet is just full of rope rescue equipment. So we would use that in combination with that basket that's in the box on the ladder in order to do a rope rescue. So we're going to let Firefighter Taylor get back to packing the truck up here. And we're just going to take a quick look at a couple other things inside Firehall 2 before we sign off for the week. So while they're packing that up, we're going to go and take a look over at the bush truck here. Now you might have seen when we were up at Station 7 that we had the bush truck up there. And you know, this time of year, we're just getting ready for the start of grass fire season. So these trucks are going to be out and about a lot in the near future here. So they carry some water on them, and again, this one has the basket stretcher on the top that we also use for rescue, because this truck is a four-wheel drive, so we can get some of the areas that obviously a fire engine can't get, and get that basket stretcher closer to where someone might be in trouble. One thing I just wanted to talk about really quickly while we're talking about grass fires, you know, this time of year, it is the grass is very dry right now because it's all the dead grass from last year. The snow is gone down here in Kamloops, so it's dry. You know, if we get a little bit of rain, then it won't burn very easily, but it just takes a day or two and that dead dry grass is ready to burn again. So this always happens at this time of year, early spring season. It hasn't greened up, it hasn't started growing yet. So we will usually, most years, get a fairly busy grass fire season early on. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be busy in the later in the year. We don't know yet. We'll see what kind of a spring we have and summer. But this time of year is also the time when, you know, you might have heard us talking about people fire smarting their house. When we do get into the main part of wildfire season, a real wildfire, if it approaches a neighborhood, you know, it takes probably, well, a minimum here in Kamloops, so 16 to 20 firefighters for a regular single house fire. So if you can imagine a wildfire approaching and, you know, 50 or more houses all catching on fire at the same time, obviously a fire department like Kamloops, or really any fire department, doesn't have enough trucks or people to fight those kind of fires and put out all those houses. So how do we deal with that? Well, prevention is the biggest thing, and that is up to the property owners. So if you own a home that's near the wildfire areas, now is the time during your spring cleaning to start looking around at things that you can remove, so that if a wildfire were to approach, that it's going to stop when it gets close to your property and not set your house on fire. There's a lot of information we could pass on about that, Fire Smart. If you go to our website, there's going to be more on Facebook page and on YouTube as well. So, or you can just go to Google and type in Fire Smart BC or Fire Smart Canada. So that's my little spiel about grass fires, and just that now is a lot of work involved at people's properties of clearing things up so that they'll be ready. So now spring cleaning is the time to look after that stuff. It looks like we've just about got the truck packed up here. So it's like a giant transformer. It's gone back from being a tower ladder truck. Now it's back to just being a really big fire truck. And I mentioned we are over at Firehall number 2. This is in Brocklehurst. And this truck right here, engine 2. Who's our engine 2 driver there, Firefighter Venables? Hey?
Me this month, you betcha.
You are, okay.
I am.
So, brand new truck for us.
Brand new truck, yeah. We took delivery just before the end of the year, and it's been great so far. It's been a nice addition to our fleet.
So, engine 2 is the busiest truck that we have in Kamloops Fire here. On the North Shore here, Station 2, between West Side and the North Shore, that's roughly half the population of Kamloops. So this crew at this fire hall are very busy. In fact, a few years ago, there was a report put out that this engine was actually the 9th busiest in Canada. Now you might think, well, there's big cities like Toronto and Vancouver. A lot of those halls in busy areas have more than one apparatus, whereas here in Brocklehurst, there's just the one truck and the one crew. So they go to everything. So this hall is very, very busy. And that's why they have this new truck, because the last one got worn out. Like I said, our mechanics do an amazing job of looking after our apparatus and keeping everything up and running for us. And then over here, we've got another water tender. This is very similar to the one that we saw up in Aberdeen. And again, this is for carrying water. This whole part of the truck here and behind all that, that's just a big water tank, is for carrying water to areas where we don't have enough hydrants. And you can't really see it, but up top there, it's like a portable swimming pool that we can dump the water out of that truck into to supply water for the fire engine or possibly the tower ladder. Okay, well, thanks Station 2. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks again for joining us all this week. This will be posted to YouTube later today. It's been great. Oh, and one thing I also have to mention, we talked about this being a Junior Firefighter Academy. So make sure you're checking our Facebook page next week, because your final exam will be posted. Now, we're gonna have a little bit of a fun contest. So you might want to look through some of these videos, and you know, lots of good information here. Might be a bit of a test coming next week, and for kids that enter into that, we'll have some prizes for you next week. So keep your eyes on the Facebook page. And again, we appreciate all the support we've been getting. Thank you so much for the comments, the questions, people sharing the posts, signing up, subscribing to our YouTube page. And you know, really this has all been about trying to pass on the information that we have to help prevent fires, help keep your family safe. You know, right now during all the COVID restrictions, it's not easy to get out, and we miss having people come to the fire halls. Hopefully after all this, you know, you can come back and visit us again, and we'll be able to get out to the schools and do that sort of thing. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us here, and who knows what will be coming up next, but we'll see you around.